the import. How we can import the data from flat files to Teradata tables. Okay. And we have seen these are different formats or different modes the data which you can import into. Data mode, index data mode, and report mode, which we already know while exporting. And here there is one more mode called var text, where it is a variable length delimiter files. So this is most popular way of importing and exporting the data so that we can communicate with the other RDBMS also, maybe DB2, SQL Server. If you give in this format, every application, whatever the RDBMS may be, they can import the data. If it is a data and index data, the other RDBMS may not understand it because of the protocols and indicator bytes what they use. But the var text format is a better way of communicating with other RDBMS applications. Okay, so this is very much popular. So we have special scenario which I have given in these slides. BTEQ export and import of variable length delimiter files. It is a special scenario where I have given for the use, and we will see how we'll do the data indicator and report formats. So yesterday we have seen some export examples. So where they are in my local disk. See, November 2012 is our batch. Okay. So here let us open one mode. It is a report mode. And let us see. Oh, what is this? Index data. Okay, let us see the index data. So let me save this. Fifth BTEQ which we are writing in, and here we have the export of the data in the index data format to the file. Okay, so I'm exporting all the data from retail cost. So once exported onto this file, I would like to use this file and load the data into one more table of same format as of customer. Okay. So let me see if there is any similar table with this format customer. Otherwise I will create the table and will use the table to load the data I exported through 5 BTEQ index data text. So let me see what the data table available with the same format. Otherwise we'll create the table with the format. Sorry. Okay. So let's see. Select star from detail dot custom. It is available. We'll use this. Okay. And let us compare the formats. The first we have to ensure the source and destination should be in the same format. Otherwise, it won't be loaded. What we'll do, we'll compare the formats like this. Cust1 and cust2, right? So for cust1 I am showing the definition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. Cust2 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. The same formatting, right? So this is the cust1, this is the cust2. The integer, varchar of 20, date, character, short name, income. So I can reuse this cust2 Let me delete some data and we can ensure the data is loaded through our BTEQ. Delete from retail dot cust2. Yeah, 6 rows completed. So now cust2 is empty and cust1 is having 16 records. So now my requirement is to move the data from cust1 to cust2 through BTEQ. Okay. And this table and database may be in different server. In your environments, it is in the development server and it is in production server. So we have to export data from development and load into production. That could be a scenario. But here we have only one environment, so we are moving from table to table. But the script is same. The logon credentials will be different. Right here, you use development server while export, and then you log in with the production server and you will import. But here, as this is the same environment for the demo version, we are using the same logons for export and import. So if I'm getting noise, I will be muting you. Okay. So I have export the data. Now I have to write import. So up to here it is export. Here the import starts. Dot import same mode. The file which we exported, the same file we are using for import also. And now, while exporting the data, we no need to mention how many columns we are exporting, what type of the data these columns have. Everything is not required because the RDBMS has the sophisticated information about the number of columns, the name of columns, the data type of the columns, the length of the columns, and the format of the columns, because it is an RDBMS. And we are moving to data files. So it is not required to mention the metadata of the data which you are exporting. But coming to import, from where you are importing the data? You are importing from a file. So on file, is there any specific system which identifies how many number of columns, what is the data type, what is the format, everything? No, right? So we have to explicitly specify all these details to Teradata. How will specify? With a structure called using. Okay. See here, we have to specify the using because we are importing from a flat file. So in flat file, there is no data type system. Right? So we have to explicitly mention what type of data we are loading into the Teradata tables so that the RDBMS can understand what type of data you are trying to load. So in import, this is a extra effort what we make to identify the columns and make Teradata understand what data you are loading into. So using, you have to define all the columns. So what are the columns exist in the customer 2, customer 1, and this is the same structure. So I can define. Okay, so what it need, the column name. Column name means it is not of the RDBMS column name. It is the variable name what you use intermediately to read the data from table and load into the to read the data from the file and load into the table. Okay, so this name could be anything. It is not mandatory that you use the same name of the RDBMS. Okay, you may use some different names. Custom, let's suppose. Okay, I am using custom, but it is of same data type. The data type should be mandatory what it is in the RDBMS. Okay. The names, these are user defined names you can use. Customer name, and each data type should be enclosed within a parenthesis. JOD is the date. So date should be enclosed, and gender is character of 1. Short name is character of 50. Yes, this is the way how we can define the file, how many number of columns, and what is the variable name to be used to read each column from the file, and what is the data type of the each column. So this information we have to explicitly provide with the instruction called using. And then insert into the actual import statement. Insert into which table? We want to load it into cust2 table with values. What values? The variable values which are read from the file. Right? So each and every record is read into this particular format, these variable names. So we have to use these variable names. To use, we have to prefix each column name with a colon. Cust name or cust num, cust name, joining date. Okay, the names are not mandatory to be equivalent with the RDBMS names, they are the variables. So I changed some of them and I didn't change some of them. Right? So this is how we define the file, where it exists, and we define how it should be read, and we have defined to which table we have to load this data. Let's try. Let's try and see how many errors we will get. Save this. How to execute the script? Run command, and better you go in your path where the scripts exist, so that you no need to give the entire path of the script. So BTEQ is utility which we use, and the script exists in 5_bteq.text. So we have given it within input stream operator less than, and then we have to capture the log into another text file which is suffixed with the name _log, and I want to spool all the errors also. The error stream that is 2 greater than would also be logged into the same file which I used for the standard output. Click on enter. Now see. So log on successful. Just a moment. Yeah. So log on successful here, and the data exported, and we are starting the import. See, the using structure accepted, insert statement executed. How many rows are inserted? Insert completed, 1 row added, and written code is 0. We are able to write the script without any error. Good. Okay, and it is loaded only 1 record. See here. Select star from cust2. See, only 1 record got inserted. How many records we are expecting? 16 records which were exported from the cust1. The same 16 records we are expecting in cust2, but it has loaded only 1 record. Why? Because each and every statement by default executes only once in BTEQ. Right? So when it executes each and every statement executed once, so it has imported the file, it has read the first record and executed the insert statement once, and it came out. So it is a procedural way of execution of each and every statement. So executed each and every statement once and came out. So what shall we do to instruct Teradata or to BTEQ to load all the data within this file. So this file has 16 records, but we have to instruct to load all the records into the table. So what we'll do, we have a command called repeat and the number of times you want to repeat. If you specify 3, it will repeat the statement 3 times. Okay. If you specify 5, it will repeat for 5 times. Okay. I'm getting noise. I'm looking at. Okay. So what we'll do, if you specify 3 or 5, it will repeat the statements those many number of times, but if the requirement is to repeat it till end of this file to record all, to load all the records, then you specify repeat stop. Okay. So as per your requirement, if you want to repeat the statement only for 10 times, you put 10. If you don't know the number of times and you want all the records to be loaded from the file, then put repeat star and then see. Now see the log. Exported. See here. Those many times. Insert completed. What happened? For the first record, it is getting a duplicate row error. It means why we are getting this error? Can anyone guess why we are getting a duplicate error?
Because already one row is inserted.
Yeah, one row inserted. Then why we are getting error?
Unique primary index.
The table is unique index. Okay, yeah, because if you see the definition, what this table is, set table. Okay, so it cannot allow row level duplicates. One record was already inserted with the previous run and we are trying to insert the same record again, so it is giving a duplicate record error. So what we'll do, let us delete all the records and we'll try insert it again. I didn't change any script, I just executing it. It's completed. So let's see. Insert completed, inserted, and now again the failure started. And it is giving 48. What's the problem? So these are all real-time errors, okay, what we generally get. So what is the problem now? See the script and see this number, correlate it, and guess what is the error. Okay, so earlier I got a duplicate error.
Pending the exported file.
Yeah. Yeah, just a moment. So earlier we got the duplicate error and we fixed it by deleting the rows from the table and we tried it again and still we are getting after 16 records. Okay, so yes, that is correct, because if you observe what is happening here, we are keep on exporting the data every time to the same file. So first time 16 records, second time when I execute 32 records, third time 48 records. So it is trying to import all the 48 records now, third time. And first 16 records are imported, but next it is becoming row level duplicate, and as it is a set table, it is rejecting all the records. Okay, so what we can do? What is the fix for this? We have to
Delete the file before we
delete the file every time we run this, so that at any point of time it will have only one set of result in the data file, and it will import the same data every time. So how we delete the file? By using the operating system command delete on this file. Now let me execute it. See, delete is also working now, and it is removing 16 records imported. Okay, what is error now? We already inserted the data with the previous run, so we have to delete this. Now let us execute. So now the table is empty, and each time the file is having only one set of answers. So now okay, all 16 records are exported here, and the same 16 records are imported here. Okay, so this is how you can use export and import. Okay. Here we are using the same server, but it could be different servers, different databases, different tables, but the same format. Or you may load partial data with only few columns from one table to other table. Okay. All those probabilities you can try.
Manohar,
Mm-hmm.
can you please explain the data type, the using and the data types, that is for file or just database?
That is, describe the file for database. Because if the data exists in the flat file, how we will know what data type it is? We are not sure, right? Even if it is a number, it could be a character. So we don't know, and Teradata also won't know whether you are expecting a character or a integer from this column. So what we have to do, we have to explicitly explain what data type it is, what is the formats, if any,
So
everything
this is again
explicitly
based on the database, right?
based on the
By looking at the to which table we are going to import.
yeah.
So okay.
So it is
the table.
Good.
Yeah, the second one, insert into the table name, those are the actual field names of the database, right? The
Okay.
table names.
Yes.
Insert into
The data types and the sequence, but not the names. Names you can use anything. Okay. The data types and the sequence should match with the imported file, the imported table, and the same structure should exist in the file also. So while exporting, if they specify that this is the table I am using to export, and we use this table structure and we'll create our destination, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we expect the same format to be exist in the file also. So it should be with the same sequence of the data types and same formats. And it is required only for import, because from file we are loading into the RDBMS. So from file we don't know how it is, so we are explicitly explaining. If it is from RDBMS to file, nothing to explain, because Teradata knows what is the table we are using and what are the data types, what is the sequence. So we don't need to explain anything.
Okay, the column names over here, the insert into table, those column names should be same as the table names, right?
No.
Here,
These are the variables. Whatever names we mention, variables in the using structure, those should be same.
Okay.
And if you see customer underscore ID is the name in the table, but here I am using the variable which is defined here from the file. Yeah, there is some other question.
Manohar? Like, is it mandatory that export and import should be used in only one script?
No. You can use export in different script, and you can use import in different script with a different logon. Yes.
Okay. If in the export, like if it is the text file is in the network place, then we have to use the file equal to, or is there any other thing?
Network file means The file
I
exists
mean,
in different machine, not
different
in your
files.
local
Yeah.
machine.
Yes. Yes.
So normal scenario is, okay, if it is a Unix machine, then you have to connect through telnet, right? Or telnet or qtftp or something, some protocol you use and connect. And the BTEQ should install on the Unix machine, and the file also should exist on the same machine. If your question is like that, your local machine is Windows, but the file exists in Unix server, you are not supposed to execute BTQ on your local machine. You have to log in through telnet through the Unix server, and then use this BTQ.
Manohar, when we are trying to insert a duplicate record, we are getting an error, right? So we can use a delete command, right? Delete from the tables in order to avoid
Yes,
that error.
yes. You can use delete also, right? Yeah, we are coming to those parts also by adding some conditional statements. We can use delete. Yes,
Okay.
that is also one fix. So if I execute the same script, what is the problem? If I execute the same script again, let's see.
Duplicate.
Yeah, so duplicate rows. So how I can fix it? Maybe I delete the records from here through SQL Assistant, and if it is a repeated operation, what I can do, I can use this delete in the script itself. As mentioned, I can use delete. Now save it, and now execute it. Did I place semicolon? Yes. Now save it. So delete completed. So I have automated my fix. Instead of going into the SQL Assistant and use it, I have just automated this in my script. Okay, good. So now, for a fine day, somebody has dropped this table. Drop table. Okay, maybe some DBA automated process to remove some temp tables or something. Okay, somehow this table got dropped. Now, if I execute the script, what happens? Would it run successfully? Select completed, export completed. Now, while deleting the data, what happened? Error happened. What is the error? With error code 3807, the error message is object does not exist. Okay. So what is the fix for this? Yeah, you are support team, let's suppose. You are executing this batch every day, and one fine day you observed this table got dropped and your script failed saying object not found. Then what do you do as a support associate?
We can create the table.
Yeah. So the fix is we have to create the table. Create table detail.cust2 as detail.cust1 with no data. Okay. This is the way you create a table with existing structure. Now if I execute the script, it should run fine. Delete, no rows removed because there are no rows, so we just created and it is following it. Okay. And how we can automate this? And before we automate, we have to learn some other points. Okay, so if you observe here, it is doing each row by row operation, isn't it? It is reading one record from there and inserting into the table, and then again reading from the file and inserting into, and then again reading and inserting into. So it is a row by row operation. If you use a BTEQ by default, it does a row by row operation. If there are 16 records, it is reading the file 16 times, inserting into the 16 times. That means inputs it is taking from the file 16 times, doing output, that is write operation 16 times. So there are 32 IO operations performed by this BTEQ to insert 16 records from the file to a database. Okay. So IO operation, each IO operation is very costly. So how we can make it optimized? Okay. Let's suppose if I instruct BTEQ to read 10 records at once from the file and insert all these 10 records at once into the table, then how many IO operations are required here to insert these 16 records? Okay, 10 records for the first time and 10 records are loaded the first time. So next time only 6 records are available. So 6 records will read at once and those 6 records will be written to the database at once. So how many IO operations required here? When I can do 10 records at a time, process 10 records at a time. So only 4 IO operations. So is there any way I can optimize this in Bteq? Yes, you can use the pack. The pack is a command where you can instruct how many number of records you want to process at once. Save it. Now execute. Some failure, I think. Okay, duplicate. It is duplicated. I think I used wrong script. Delete statement is not there here. Delete from detail.cust2. And I instructed pack so that 10 records will be packed at once and processed. See, all the 10 records are processed once, and then again 6 records are processed once. If you see how many records are packed at once, 10 records, and average 8 records per pack, because first pack is 10 and the last pack is 6, so average is 8, and the largest pack used is 10. Like that, we have optimized such a way that all 10 records are processed at once. And if you see, for each record it is displaying a message, and we may suppress those messages by using a command called quiet on. Quiet on. It means in silent mode. You no need to give me the result for each and every record. After completion of the whole record, you can give me messages. So the messages will be minimal if you use a quiet on. Quiet means silent. A silent mode on. So save it. Now execute it. I think it's some error again. See? The messages are very less now. That's where the size of the log file is also less. Earlier it was 5 KB, now it is only 3 KB because the messages are suppressed because of silent mode. It's giving a instruction that if you can use a quiet off whenever you want to get the messages from the BTEQ. This is the way.
Why is it giving a warning out of data?
Where? This one?
Yeah, warning out of data.
I mean, it is trying to get all the file. I mean, this is not because of the quiet off. It was giving from the beginning onwards, right? For the first record answer. So it is because we have given a repeat star. Okay. The last record always has an enter key. So it will try to fetch that data also and try to accommodate it, and it will give you a warning that after the end of the date or after the end of the record, it is giving an out of data because it has only one enter key and it cannot accommodate that record, the last record in this format.
In the last pack of 10, right, after the first 10 rows, it showed this warning out of data.
Yeah.
And
no, it is overall message of this insert. the import message, not for a
I
single
remember
insert.
seeing this after first 10 lines, warning order of data.
Yeah, it could be displayed anywhere, but that is the
Okay.
actual reason.
Okay.
So this is how you can suppress the messages, and this is how you can
Manohar, what are
repeat the number of instructions, and this is how you can instruct to combine a set of statements to process at once. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, Manohar, at the end there's a message saying the total requests into the DBC equal to 2. So does it mean 2 transactions happen?
Yeah, two IOs. What happened here?
2 IOs. Okay.
And each
Manohar?
pack is 10 and average is 8. And the first pack is 10. Okay, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I have a question like, you said right, you can use .os command to delete a file in the Windows, right?
Yeah, the
So
Windows.
my question is, if in case you're running the scripts in mainframes, can we use a TSO delete command for deleting a data set similar to .os?
.os, and how do you delete? You use a program there?
Yeah, I mean to say like similar to .os, I think can we use a TSO command like deleting a data set before exporting the data? Like again, like
Generally what we do, we'll write one more step before the JCL where we use that TSO commands, but not in
yeah,
BTEQ.
yeah, okay, okay, okay. One more question. Also, for if in case we want to execute two queries separately, but we want to use the same file, do we need to use two import statements for each query, or only one import is enough?
Can you repeat that? You use only one
My
file?
question is, for example, you have written a script.
Okay.
In that, we are executing two queries.
Two queries means
So
two
for
imports you mean?
both the no, two queries. Other
What
queries,
the
for
two
example.
queries? Here also I use two queries. Delete statement is a query and insert is one query.
But thing is like in both the two queries, I need to use the records from the input file.
Okay. Yeah, you have to
In
import
that
it two
case, do we
times.
need to use import two times? Okay.
Yes. Okay, so if you observe in the script, when I started this import, when I have terminated the statement here, this is all one statement. So the semicolon is here. So these are commands, BTEQ commands. They could be or they cannot be. But this is mandatory that you have to terminate the import statement with the insert statement or a delete or update. So for each statement you have to import that file and you do the process. So this is all one statement. That's where you have given a semicolon after using after insert. This can also be exist. So for each
So then
insert or
we can
update you have to import this file one more time.
So can we use repeat star for both the imports? I mean every time reading from the first record.
Yes. So here also you use the same pattern. Like this.
Okay, it's
It could
fair,
be some
right?
other
Because
time.
every time for the first query, 10 times reading record from the top, 10 times again reading from the top 10. So no other option to.
No, because this is a statement. So for every insert or for every process, we have to import the file again, and you have to mention how many records you want to process. Okay. Good. So now let's come to our problem. What is that? I have dropped this table, and now I'm executing this. What is the error? The delete statement failed. Okay, so the fix is to create the table again and to run it so that it will execute. And if you observe, here it is a failure, but still the script is trying to execute all the remaining statements and it is getting failure at each statement and coming out. Okay, unnecessarily it is trying to execute the remaining statements also. So there are two problems. You know, one table is dropped, and let's suppose the drop of the table would happen every week on Friday by the DBA process, and on Saturday, every Saturday you will get this error. So you know that. Okay, it is a pre-known error that every Saturday you will get this error because of the Friday process, which deletes all the temp tables in the database. So your temp table is also dropped somehow, and you know every Saturday morning this is the error and you have to create the table. So you know the error, you know the fix. Can we automate it? So whenever the table is not found, you have to create the table and load the data. And whenever table is exist, then you no need to create the table but go with the insert statement. Right? That is the way we do. So how we can achieve that automation in Bteq? So here, what's the problem? The table not exist. So whenever table not exist, we have to create the table and we have to automate it within the script so that the script intelligently will check the existence of the table. If table exists, it will insert the data. If table not exist, it has to create the table and insert the data. Okay? Let us address this problem. How we can do that? Yeah. To do that, we have to use the error handling mechanism. What is this? Let me see one question here. Check variable which acts as. Or this, Vijay? What is your question? Okay, it is a earlier one when I defined the using structure maybe. Okay, fine. I'm looking at it now. Okay, so here if you see the error handling mechanism to declare the pre-known errors as warnings. Okay, by default what happens, for each and every error code the severity is assigned with 8. That means it is an error. If it is a warning, it is severity 4. If it is a fatal error, its severity is 60. So warning, error, fatal errors. And these are the severities of each and every error. Okay, so object not found. When we get this error, what is the severity? Okay, by default it is severe. So it is 8. It's not a warning, it is error. So it is a 8. And what is the error code for this? When object not found, what is the error code? Let's suppose here I'm using select star from custom where it does not exist. You see what is the error code? 3807. You can see at the bottom left. 3807. And this is the error code. And for this error code, by default the severity is 8. And if it is an 8, okay, we cannot make anything. But if you know that error, that it will exist on every Saturday and I know the fix, then what you can do, you can override the severity to 4 so that it will become a warning. Yeah. How we'll do that? By declaration of the known error to warning. Dot set error level, error code with severity 4. Like this we have to declare so that that particular error code, whenever it exists, it will be considered as a warning. By default it is 8, but we want to convert that severity of 8 to 4 by declaring the error level statement. Dot set error level of 3807 as severity 4. Now what happens, whenever the table not exists here, it will be considered as a warning only, but not an error. Okay. After this statement, we have to use the error code of this particular statement. If the table exists, what is the error code? 0, because it's success. Right? If the table exists, the delete from table would exist, would successfully execute, and the return code is 0. So error code is 0. Right? But if the table not exist, then what is the error code? It is 3807. Okay? So there is a system routine called error code to capture the error message of the currently executed statement. So if error code is equal to 0, that means table exists, then go to which statement? The import statement, right? So to go to the statement, we have to use some label here. Insert data. This is a label, user defined label I'm using here. And this label I define at the import statement. It means what happens here? Whenever I try to delete and there is no error code, that means it is successful, then I have to go to insert data and insert it. Let's suppose if the table not exists, then what is the error code? Is 3807, right? Let us see the pattern here instead of getting more confusions. It's the same pattern what we use as a standard. Just let me get from the old script and paste it here. So this is the pattern. No need to remember it because it exists once. Okay, once we find the logic, we can use same logic. Let me close all the scripts. So here, use this error handling logic here and let us evaluate it. Okay, first what we are doing, we are trying to delete the data. If error level is greater than or equal to 8, if something happened and some error happened, if error level is greater than or equal to 8, then what it has to do, go to error 1. And this error 1 is a label. Where it is defined? It will be defined at some end of the script like this. Label error and with 1. Okay. And if error code equal to 0, that means success. Then what it do? Go to OK or ins data. Suppose ins data. That means this label and it will insert the data. If there is an error code but the severity is less, that means 3807. Okay, we have declared the severity of 3807 is 4, that means warning. And if the statement failed because of the object not found, then what would be the error level? Error level is 4 and 4 is not greater than or equal to 8. So this condition is not met. So what it does, it will try to execute this statement. What is the error code? Error code is not 0, it is 3807. Right? So this is also not matched. 3807 equal to 0. It is also not matched. So it won't go to the insert data, but what it has to do, it has to insert the immediate next statement, that is the create table. Create table detail.cust2 has detail.cust1 with new data. Okay. So now let us see again. Whatever known error is there and whatever fix we already know, we are trying to automate it. What is the error? Known error. Every Saturday you will get an error that object not found in this statement. Okay, so we want to automate that. What you will do? The known error code, you make the severity as 4. By default it is 8, but you are making it as a warning because it is a known error and you know the fix. Okay. And at this statement you are trying to capture the error level first. If error level is greater than or equal to 8, then go to error 1. That means it is not an object not found error, it is something else. We don't know. In production any error can happen. The server is down. That is also an error. But it is not due to the table not exist, but it is due to server down. So we should not capture that error. So for that error, what we are trying to do, go to error 1. So where this error 1 is defined at the end of the script to come out without execution of any statement. Okay, once the server is down, no need to execute other statements. You just go out and quit with a written code like 20 or 30 or 40, whatever you recognize. It is an error. Okay. And let's suppose if the failure is because of only the 3807, that means the object not found, then what happens? As we have set the severity as 4, this condition is not met. Right? Error level is 4 because it is a known error 3807. So 4 is greater than or equal to 8. The condition not met, so it won't execute this, and it will execute the next immediate statement, error code checking. So we are checking the error code. Is error code is 0? No. Object not found. So it is a 3807 error code. So 3807 equal to 0, not met. So it won't go to the insert data. It won't go to the insert data. What it does? The next immediate statement, that is create table. So it creates the table and then follow the next statements. Okay. So whenever the table not exists, it would create the data and insert the data. Whenever table exists, then we will have error code equal to 0. So 0 equal to 0, then go to insert data. So it skip the create table statement and go to insert data and execute it. Okay. So like that, we made our script intelligent to see the existence of the table. If table exists, then jump to the insert data without creation. If the table not exist, then create the table and insert the data. Let's try this. Okay. Now, what is the situation?
Manohar, the label name is wrong and the label spelling is wrong.
Oh, is it? Great. I generally do the same mistakes every time. Even it is 100 batch, still I do the same error. And it helpful for the team also to understand the errors. So I don't want to rectify it almost. Okay. Ins data LA, BEL is it, and INS date data. Okay, so use the same label, the spelling. Okay. But still I expect some errors. Let's see.
Manohar, what is quit 20 means you're setting error code level or quit 20?
I mean in JCLs or in shell scripts. Okay, by seeing this written code, you can decide what scripts to be executed. If you have some 10 scripts to be executed, if this current script is executing with 0 status, you continue the other scripts. Otherwise, if it is greater than 0, you don't want to execute the remaining scripts. If you want to use this written code to decide whether other scripts to be executed or not, you have to quit here with a greater than 0 value, whatever it is, okay, 20, 30, 40, whatever you recognize as a error. That's it. Okay, so now see the log. So delete failure. But what we did, we have routed to execute it, create table. So it has created the table and then inserted the data and finally the return code is 4 because it's warning. Okay. So now if I execute the script again without making any changes, then what should happen? It should not create the table, right? Because the table already exists and no one has dropped it, so it has to go and jump to the insert statement onwards and insert the data without creation of the table. See, delete completed successfully. That means table exists, so it should not execute the create table. It should be skipped, and then it has to follow the insert statements. Now return code is 0. There is no error happened. Like that, you can automate the scripts with the help of the error codes and error levels. So these are these system routines where it will capture the immediate statements, error code and error level. With the help of this, you can route your script to execute a certain statement. Okay. This is the conditional execution of the statements. Okay. And it is better to use this exception handling at every SQL statement in your script, because if something happened at the SQL, you have to come out of the script without execution of the remaining scripts, remaining SQLs, right? So it is better you execute this error level at every SQL statement, so that if something happened at this equal, no need to execute the remaining part, right? So just go out. So go to error 1. So let's suppose there is an error at select statement, then no need to import it. If select is failed and nothing is exported here, then what you import here? So you no need to execute any other statement. So you have to just come out of the script with this error level statement. So if error level is greater than or equal to 8, then go to error 1. So it will go to the error 1, error 1, and you will quit with the 20. If it is a normal execution, then it will quit with 0. The default value is 0. So it is a best practice that you handle errors at every SQL statement.
Is written code a synonym for error code?
Pardon?
Is written code a synonym for error code?
Yes. Error code. No, not error code. Error levels.
Okay, error levels.
4, 8 or 12. Severities, levels. So now you productionized almost by handling all the errors. The table exists, so it is skipped and it is inserting the data. Okay. If table exists, it will run successfully. If table not exist, it will run successfully, but with a warning message, which you know it. Right? Pre-known error is warning. Okay. So now the confidentiality of the password. If you see, we have the password displayed here. The password of production servers always should be confidential. So how we can make these passwords confidential? So here we are displaying the password. What we can do, we can write this logon statement in a separate file. I am creating a new text document with password. I place this password statement here and ensure your enter key exists at the immediate next record first character. You have to give a statement here like this. You have saved your password in your password file, and just ensure you have enter key, one and only one enter key at the end of the record, so that if you press down arrow, the cursor should stop here at the next immediate statement's first character. Save this, and you can call this file in the actual BTEQ with run file, part of the password file. What is that? November 12 pswd.text. Okay, so here I am not displaying my password. The password exists in another file called password.text, and this password text permissions you can change such a way that no one can see this data but can execute it. Okay, we know in Unix we have read, write and execute permissions. You ensure that this password file will have only execute permissions but not read and write, so that all the files can execute this but cannot read and write the data. And here you cannot see the password. Now save this. Now such file or directory. What is the mistake? PASWD. Again spelling mistake. So let us correct it. Close the files. PASWD. See now, run file executed, and from this file it has executed the logon statement, and you don't see password in the logs ever. You cannot see. So I made my password also confidential without displaying it in the script. File not exist. Okay, and exported the data, and then deleted the data successfully and imported the data successfully. See, this is the script which I can productionize now. Password is confidential. I have handled errors and I have automated the known errors. I have optimized the import. All aspects of the production version of the script I made it so I can productionize the script. Okay. So this you can understand the conditional logic now because we have implemented it. And this is a variable length export and import. You can export the data with the help of this select statement with a comma delimiter here. If you see, for each and every column we are casting to the format of the length what we want, and we are concatenating each and every field with a delimiter called comma here. Okay. So how many columns are exported with this select statement? I have concatenated all the columns with a pi. So as an output, how many number of columns are given as a result set? Can anyone guess? I have 4 columns here and I have concatenated each column with a comma and exporting it. How many columns are written?
1 column.
Right? Any other answer, anyone? Okay, good. It is 1 column return. What is the header displayed for this column?
Title.
Title or a null? The title I have overridden with a null character. So the first column should not be a column header, but it should be a record, the data record. So I have nullified the header with the title null string within it. Okay, so I want to return only 1 column by concatenating all the columns data with the comma, and first row should be null. That means no header. So this is what we generally use to export data. If you want header, yes, you can have it by not using this title, and you use something else in the title. Get the business date or the source system name, something, whatever header format you want. But if you don't want anything, nullify it. Okay, and sample 100 rows are exported. Okay, so you can generate the delimiter file with the report mode, because report is the readable format of the data we can export, right? So with this readable format of report, you can concatenate all the data with the required delimiter and can export a variable length delimiter file. And how we will import it? With the mode called var text. Okay, so what is the output of the select and export file? This is the export file data for sample. Customer number, comma, name, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma, social security number. All the data is exported like this. This is the sample data file. And this sample data file I want to import into another table called customer in another server maybe. Okay, so what I do, I use the import statement, the var text of comma, the file path, quite on, repeat star, using structure to define how many number of columns, what is the format of the columns, and then insert statement, quite off. That means I want to get the output of the each and every SQL from here onwards. So select a count star from customer, which would give you the number of columns or the number of rows inserted into the destination table. Okay. If a data record exceeds a default width of 75, you can use a set width command and override the default width of 75 to 250, 300, whatever it is. Okay. If the data of each column, okay, this column is exceeded 75, you have to reset the width. So that you will get more number of characters in a single record. This is how you can export a variable length record file and import into the other table with the same format. Okay. So this we can close this BTEQ concepts, okay, where we have learned different modes of export, different modes of import, error handling mechanism, and variable length delimiter file export and import. Any questions? I see some questions here. They are old questions. It's fine. Or if you have any questions, please let me know.
Manohar, is there any limitation of using if condition?
No. Many number of if conditions you can use.
Because I mean what I'm asking is like if condition as per my knowledge, like in the cases which I faced, if condition can be only used for predefined variable like error code, error level, and activity count. Apart from that, we can't able to use similar to the traditional programming languages.
Okay. You are asking question on limitation of using if on the system routines. Okay. Yeah. So error level, activity count. There is one more variable. I'm getting echo. Is it from you? Yeah. So we have error level, error code, and one more variable called activity count. We know error level. This is the severity of the error. Error code we know, that is error code which actually returned. And there is one more system routine called activity count, which holds the number of records processed in the current SQL. Okay. So let's suppose here after importing the activity count is 0, or if you are doing some update and the activity count is 0, that means no records are updated, you no need to proceed for the further statements. Then you can use the activity count also to check if activity count equal to 0, then go to error 1, so that it will give you an error that no record is processed today. If activity count is greater than 0, then go to some particular statement. Like that you can use that activity count also to route or to conditionally branch your statements from one statement to another statement. So these are the three generally we use: error level, error code, and activity count. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start our case study. So I will explain you the business case of the case study, and if possible the step-by-step execution of the case study. So you have to start implementing that case study in the BTEQ. Okay, so please don't miss tomorrow's class. It is a case study. Yeah.
Manohar, one question here. Can you repeat what activity count is?
Activity count. Okay, activity count is the system routine which holds the number of records processed in just executed statement. Okay, for example, this is the statement. I have selected the data. How many records are processed with this select? in our example? 16 records.
16, right.
So the activity count, which is the system routine that holds the number 16 there. And if you want to use that activity count for conditionally identifying what statement should be executed, you can use that activity count also along with the error levels and error codes. Let's suppose if the select star from retail cust has returned me 0 records. So what is the activity count?
0.
0. So if activity count is 0, then do I need to execute all the statements, importing the data, deleting the data and all?
No.
Right. So what I can do, if activity count is equal to 0, then go to some other label, maybe error2 or no data, and you define a no data variable here, label here, label no data, and quit with some number, so that by identifying this 10 number after return, you will identify, okay, today there is no data. That's where it didn't deleted the data and it didn't imported the data. Like this, you can use these variables also.
So basically it holds the count of the records which we have selected.
Which we process. It may be select or update or insert, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
If in an update, if updated some million records, that million number will be there in the activity count. Activity count is activity count. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Manoj.
No. Yeah. Good. So I have placed all the scripts in the share folder also. You can use that scripts. So just start practicing it, and when we start the case study tomorrow, we will use all this knowledge to implement the real-time case study. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. It is almost 15 minutes past. Sorry for that, but hope you get some good knowledge. Thank you very much. So tomorrow, same time, same link.